guys, it's Nikki from Love of Dirt. Welcome back to another video. We just had another big run of rain here. Now it's windy, which is pretty typical for our winters, because actually recording this is the first day of winter for us here. But the rain in May is not usual for us. So we had, back in February, we had I think 1.3 meters of rain, yeah, so like most to here. And again in May we've had like 400 mil, so we're getting up there on almost 2 meters of rain. It's like ridiculous. So I planted my tomatoes back in February. So we do our tomatoes over autumn because there's less bugs, there's usually less rain and less disease. So they actually went in the ground just before we got that stupid amount of rain, and they were fine. Look, we had a little bit of fungal issues, but nothing that we couldn't handle. So they kept going. They were all right. But this amount of rain that we've just got now in May, just as all the fruit's sort of starting to ripen, I'm not sure what's happened to them. So at the moment they're under a net, and I'm going to go have a look and inspect the damage. So I thought I'd bring you guys along with me. Okay, before I unveil, I've just got a net over here. We don't actually need nets this time of year. Usually I put it over for fruit fly and things like that, but they're not here at the moment. What I have got it over is for bean fly, because I've actually planted some beans under here. So I'm just going to take this net off and we'll inspect the damage and see what's going on under here. Okay, so here is the damage. So back in February I did actually pull out, I think I lost 2 plants. So I pulled one out of here, which is why that space is a bit bare, and I pulled one out over here. So here, so these are our San Mazzanos. I love these tomatoes, they're so amazing. They're ready to pick, obviously, but we've got some issues here. So with rain, usually if things sort of start to wilt like this, it means one of 2 things. One, it's either going to be a bacterial wilt or a virus of some kind, and the other could potentially mean that we've got root knot nematodes. So root knot nematodes really thrive in anaerobic conditions, and so if the ground is really wet, it's going to become really anaerobic. So 2 possibilities there, but we do see sort of like we've got these spots over here, spots on the foliage. So on top of the wilting, we've also got some major issues here. So I don't think this tomato is going to come back. So I'm going to pick all of the fruit off it and pull it out and have a look and see what's underground, as well as I will also cut just about 2 centimeters above here, and just to see what kind of infection that it's had. Oh look, there's a caterpillar. It's probably been into all those tomatoes. I'll find that later. But yeah, so usually the way to find out what's wrong with it is usually ripping it out and seeing. So I'm just going to cut this about 2 centimeters up, and that should show me what's going on. And see this ring here? This means there's a bacterial wilt virus in there. So this is bad. Like, this is the worst probably that I could have had here. So basically, in this position now, it's going to be hard for me to grow any tomatoes for a long time. I had this in my back garden, and we're up to year 3. And I keep trying, but I think it's around 4 years before it gets out of your soil. But yeah, this ring here means it has a bacterial fungal disease. So this has got to come out. I have a feeling that it might have root knot nematodes as well. But yeah, I guess we're going to be growing lots of corn and broccoli here. They don't seem to be affected by that virus. So we'll see what else is under the ground. So yeah, you can see here we do also have some root knot nematodes, not Yeah, no, it is pretty bad. All of these sort of nodules on here. So again, it's just the ground was just way too wet. Didn't handle the rain, and the bad guys have just come in and taken advantage of that. So it's really important to get, when you've got these viruses with your tomatoes and things like that, get as much out as you can of the roots. Usually I chop and drop everything, but not tomatoes for that reason. So, and same with basil. Basil seems to pick up a lot of things as well. So now that that's done, we don't really do hot composting here. So if you do a hot compost, you could pop it in. However, what I'm going to do is just put this in our fire pit to burn at a later date. Definitely don't put it in a cold compost system. Worms may process it, but it is risky to do. So yeah, straight into the fire pit for these guys, and all of the leaves that I've pulled off too as well, straight to the fire pit. So this one here, look, the fruit's sort of almost starting to ripen, but again, it's all wilted. Okay, let's suss out this guy. I'll just remove these tomatoes. It's pretty sad. Picking all of these green tomatoes. I was hoping of getting a bumper haul this year, but it wasn't to be. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this bad guy here. About 2 centimeters up. But it's not as bad as the other one, but yeah, there's some issues in here as well. This ring. Sometimes people find that this is actually rotting a lot, and then it's really bad. But I reckon this one's probably got more nematode damage than anything. Let's suss out the roots. Oh, no, it doesn't. Not as bad. Well, that actually threw me, because I honestly thought that that plant was 100% root knot nematode, but in fact it was a virus in the plant. So basically a bacterial disease from too much water. So the moral of the story is, no matter what, if you've had a lot of rain and your tomatoes are wilting, it's time for them to go. Sorry. This one here is just fine. It's just that the excessive amount of rain has actually rotted my my Florida weave that I had going on here, and it's fallen down. So I will fix this one back up. Over here we've got all of these spots. So the most common things that we get is a septoria leaf spot, which this is what that looks like. So it's lots of little dots, very common in humid climates. The other one we get is a blight or a target spot, which is usually a bigger one, and it's actually got yellow on the outside of the spots. I usually call that one a game over one, whereas with this one we get it so often. I just trim back the leaves of this one, so this plant actually might be okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie up all of the tomatoes that have fallen down, harvest any that are almost ripe, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to remove all of the diseased leaves. So I wanted to show you quickly what I do when I'm sort of looking after my tomatoes. So I have this little spray bottle, and that's full of metho. So in between each sort of plant that I'm trimming back, I make sure that I thoroughly spray my secateurs, because tomatoes are notorious for sharing diseases, and you don't want to spread it. If you've got it on one plant, you don't want to spread it amongst all of them. So that's just my little handy tip, just a little spray bottle full of metho, and I really cover my secateurs with that before I move on to the next plant. So I just wanted to show you what I'm actually trimming back here. So even these ones that have these tiny little dots, they're gotta go, right? So just going to trim them back, see how it goes. Look, they may not recover because I might have to take too much, but this is just why it really sucks to grow tomatoes when there's too much rain. It's just, and there's too much humidity. So really trimming all these back. Like this one, I'm probably going to lose most of this plant because it is just covered in these little spots. Okay, so I was pretty brutal. This is what's left. So I had 12 tomato plants, and now I have 6. If these were determinate varieties, I would just be pulling them out. But because they are indeterminate, and they'll keep growing until basically they get a disease and die, or what have you. Because we don't have determined seasons here, essentially, like a frost. You never know. Maybe we'll get a frost this year, but normally we don't get frost, so tomatoes can grow all year for us. Actually, they do normally do better in winter because we don't have so much rain. Unfortunately, this autumn was not the case, but I do, I have picked heaps of tomatoes already, so it's not a complete loss. There's some nice ones here. Unfortunately, because we do have that Septoria leaf spot, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to save these seeds because there is a risk that it can carry on into the seed. Some of these that are sort of just starting to turn, they'll ripen up on the bench and they'll be fine. Ones that are really green, we can make tomato sauces, pickles, anything. Just Google recipes. Don't waste them. Don't chuck them. They're still good. But yeah, it's a little bit sad. Bad tomato season this year. I was hoping for a good one. But anyway, it is what it is. Can't do much about the weather gods, and I'm sure now that we've had all this rain, we're going to have 10 years of no rain, and we'll be complaining about the other side of the spectrum. So yeah, anyway, it is what it is. We'll see how they go. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.